It's Halloween time at Disneyland. We have somebody here to talk to us all about all the offerings they have. Halloween Horror Nights 32 is in full effect, and we've got reviews, and Destination D23 is coming up this weekend. We'll talk about that all tonight on ParksCenter. Welcome to ParksCenter for September 3rd, 2023. I'm your host, Rob Whiteside. Thank you guys, as always, for being with us on your Sunday night. We appreciate it. Happy Labor Day weekend. Hopefully you guys are taking advantage of this long weekend to go through all of our content. I mean, what else is a long weekend for? So please subscribe to WDWNT TV for all the great content. And, of course, give this video as a like, as it always helps people to find us. And we want you to find this crew of wonderful people that we've got with us tonight, starting with my good friend Kamila. How are you?
Hi, everyone. Happy Sunday.
Yeah, you're hanging in, and we appreciate you. Back from world travels, it's Desi.
Hey, howdy, hey.
And having survived a hurricane, it's Shannon.
Howdy.
That's all she can muster. It's just a howdy. It's great. Yes.
We
gave them all Valium. We gave
up,
them all Valium before the show, so they are ready to go. We got to say though, there was something that was like some breaking news that happened tonight that I thought was interesting for us to talk about, and I think we don't still quite know what happened, but Frontierland was closed down, but most importantly, people were robbed of the chance to go see the Country Bear Jamboree, and that's really the atrocity here more than anything else. These things happen. But the idea that this would shut down an entire land is kind of crazy. And so I guess if you're at the Magic Kingdom, it's tiki birds or nothing. Desi, I mean, have you ever been to the park when something like this like shuts down an entire land?
No, I've never been to the park where something has shut down an entire land. But more than the Country Bears, I'm also super sad for everybody who didn't get to eat at Pecos Bill's, because if you were planning on quick service and Pecos Bill's was not available, then what are your other options? The lunching pad or Cosmic Rays? I am so sorry for you. Pecos Bill's is the only quick service option, in my opinion, at Magic Kingdom.
That is a public service announcement from Desi. If you are in the Magic Kingdom and you need quick service and Pecos Bill is closed, then God help you. So you're saying you wouldn't go to Casey's or Pinocchio's Village House?
No. I wouldn't go to either of those either. I'm just not a hot dog person, and I'm not a flatbread person, so sorry.
Noted. I know what not to get you for Christmas now. Shannon, you were just there and in the hurricane, and we'll talk about that in a second. But honestly, rebuttal about the Pecos Bill. I don't care about Frontierland now. I need to know what your thoughts are about Pecos Bill.
Honestly, haven't eaten there in years, so can't say. I tend to avoid quick service altogether at Magic Kingdom. But also, as a side note, I believe the articles mention that the Frontierland situation may have been sewage related, and I'm 99.9% sure those bathrooms smelled off, and not like bathroom off, like something else was going on off last week. So,
okay, yeah, I mean, if that's all you got, that's all you got. You know what it reminded me of, and I was going to try to pull up a picture of it, is the whole thing about the sewage in Liberty Square.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like how the pavement is a different color because it's supposed to represent when people just like threw their sewage into the streets. And now we have actual sewage in Frontierland. So talk about, really, jumping the shark there.
It would have made more sense if it was in Liberty Square.
Yeah. Kamila, I'm going to give you a break on that one. We're going to move on to the next one. And then, so Idalia came and spared WDW. By the way, let's get some better names for these hurricanes. I guess we're running out of like Sam and Martha, but
the I's are always bad ones. That's why we're scraping the bottom of the barrel with the I names.
Ian and Ida.
Ian, Irma, Ivan have all been like the worst storms I've ever had to live through.
And all right, well, let's go to you first, and then we'll go to Shannon on this, because I know Shannon was actually at the resort. But I mean, as a Floridian, how many of these have you weathered, and why are you still living there?
because going to the parks during the storms is the best time to go. I think there was a storm that came through like the weekend after Galaxy's Edge opened, and it was such a great time for me, honestly, because there's no lines, and unless it's a Category 3, Floridians don't think that it's a huge deal. So, come enjoy the short lines and just bring a poncho.
Well, you know what though, it is really one of the best places to be in a hurricane is at Disneyland because I mean Disney World, because they're going to get everything up and running quick. They've got all kinds of power backups. You gotta assume they've got enough food to feed everybody, so it does seem like a good place to go. The only thing is sometimes they have to close the parks early. They didn't do that. They did close Typhoon Lagoon. And the miniature golf courses. So tell me how not going to the miniature golf courses affected you, Shannon.
I love those miniature golf courses. It was one less thing to do in that beautiful weather. But yeah, so I was there during the storm. Desi is 100% right. It's the best time to go to the parks as long as you can bear getting completely soaked. But I went to Epcot. The lines were non-existent. Disney from the start was on top of it with thank you. Yeah, it's a very beautiful picture of me weathering the storm. Yeah, so Disney had signs in the lobby of the hotel. They also, this was very exciting, the Can't Miss Magic channel on the TV in the hotel room changed back to Resort TV. Not really sure why, but they had the banner scrolling that they were monitoring the weather. And aside from that, it wasn't much different than, Florida storms that you see blow through, especially at this time of year. So I think the only other hiccup I had was Monorail Gold didn't seem to fare very well. I was on it and it was leaking quite profusely, and the doors would not. And we had to roll all the way to the Poly to then reverse to see if the sensors would work and the doors would open. So it's a whole thing. I was late to the spa. But that's all speculation. I don't really know if that was storm related or not that day.
That's the real tragedy here, honestly, is that you were late to the. So, really, I picked this topic not only just to say I'm glad that everybody weathered the storm okay, but also the fact that, Disney, I feel like, did a pretty good job with getting ahead of this. They did come and close Typhoon Lagoon, which makes sense. And then Genie Plus was apparently, because of lack of demand, incredibly cheap. So, Desi, to your point about run to the parks, I mean, do you even need Disney Plus on a day Genie Plus on a day like that? I don't know. There was supposed to be an announcement about the Disney Treasure on August 31st about kind of a virtual tour of it so that everybody could see what it was. And Disney did say, you know what, maybe this is a bad day. We'd be a little tone deaf if we were promoting a ship while the Florida coast is getting pounded by a hurricane. That's probably a good call. And then on top of that, they did offer 50% off hotel stays to people who were evacuees or first responders, and they were flexible about their cancellation. So I think they got ahead of all that. I know in the past sometimes they get panned for like the hurricane box lunches that they provided or some of the other things they've done. But I've been there during a hurricane, and it was scary a little bit. But you're right, Desi. At first, you're like, it's a little creepy in the parks, but boy, I can walk right onto Big Thunder. And then you go over and you go into your room, and then they canceled the next day of the parks for the one we were there for. But then they opened up the resorts a little bit more and brought characters in, and it really ended up being a very memorable experience for having been through a hurricane. So I'm again glad everybody's okay. Glad, Shannon, you still got to enjoy your time there and got to wear your pink windbreaker. I think that was really
that was not a waterproof jacket. I learned that day.
Yeah, probably not a good idea. So other than whatever the heck the text is down at the bottom on the screen, I was supposed to say new building who dis, so just forget the rest of that. But there are 3 buildings that are currently being built on property that we don't actually know exactly what they are. We're actually guessing a little bit as to what they might be. One of them we've been talking about for a while is the one at behind Woody's Lunchbox, which is this building they're building between Woody's Lunchbox and the exit to Toy Story Mania. And that one, I'm hoping that one is seating for Woody's Lunchbox. Because to me, that's the only bad thing about Woody's Lunchbox. Like, they have some neat offerings. It's great theming, but like, I mean, it's like fighting for a table in there. I feel like half the people are just sitting there waiting for people to get off of rides. But Desi, I mean, that's got to be what this is, right? Hopefully.
Let's hope so, because I've only eaten at Woody's Lunchbox twice, because it's just so impossible to find anywhere to sit. And it really not only just needs seating in general, but Toy Story Land needs some more shade. So it would be great to be able to find a seat, and it would be great to be able to find one in the shade. Air conditioned would be even better, if possible.
You know, like, what are you, crazy? I mean, I thought the theme of Toy Story Land was burn your skin off, because there's no cover. So like, why would you want to have, you know, an 85-minute line
like
to
Sid's
Slinky
backyard.
Dog? Yeah, exactly. Wow. Okay. Yeah, good one. So yeah, I agree with you. I'm hoping it's air conditioning. I have no idea, but I would love it to be something like that. That's one of the things that keeps me away from some of the counter service places, is that there's just no place to sit. And so it would be nice if there was some place to sit. I prefer at Disneyland there'd be more indoor places too, by the way, because usually at Disneyland there's a lot of outdoor. I've eaten at Zocalo in the rain, like huddled up underneath what little cover there was before, just because I wanted to be there. So I think that would be nice of them to be building that. I don't know what benefit, other than, you know, just to add a little bit of magic. Now they've got this other building that's coming up over by Grand Avenue, which we're thinking that one may be a permanent food spot. There is actually, I think, has been a food stand there. So that would make sense that they were going to be building that. Shannon, while the storm was coming down, did you go and give us a firsthand report of what was going on over there, or was this not there when you were?
No, it was my first time trying Woody's Lunchbox. So I did see that construction, and it's funny, I did get a survey afterwards asking me about my experience, and did I stay and sit and burn in the sun, or did I take it and walk, which I took it and walked. So hopefully that one does pan out. The other one, I hope they're bringing back used guys merchandise, because that was a real treat.
Yes, that would be fantastic. And then the last building is one that we think is cast member related. It is a building over at Disney's Fort Wilderness Campground that we think might be a new cast building that's being built there. So, you know, again, very unusual for Disney, because what they usually like to do is announce things about 3 years in advance. And then they like to tease us with this is what the floor is going to look like, this is what the light fixtures are going to look like, and then they open it up, you know, after it's supposed to be done, as opposed to, as we've talked about many times, Universal likes to kind of sneak up on you, and it's like, hey, that is not a huge roller coaster being built on the other side of the lake. Don't pay attention to that. We don't know what it is. It's just, you know. So I'm surprised that we don't have a better idea of what these buildings are. But there were too many of them for us not to talk about it tonight on ParksCenter. Speaking of things that there are a lot of them, changes at hotels. The Beach Club just reopened up with new artwork, which I think is pretty spiffy. I love the idea of some character theming in these hotels, because one of my complaints about these hotels in particular, the Yacht Club and the Beach Club, is that I don't feel like there's enough for kids. Like, they're very fancy, Shannon. And so I get why, like, Grand Floridian and all those, but I love that they infuse a little bit of Disney magic into that one. And then on top of that, we got a look at this mural that they're making for the new villas at the Disneyland Hotel, which I think that looks pretty cool too. You know, this is going to be a fancy building too, so it's nice that they have this nifty little mural there. I think that's neat. Kamila, how do you feel about? I know you have to direct people a lot of times to what hotel might be best for them, but I mean, are you on the same side I am about they need to inject a little bit more magic in these, or do you think that the characters kind of take away the bougie?
You know, I think partially it depends on if you have kids, and if so, what their ages are. Because I think, you know, if you have teens, you know, they're probably not as fascinated by like the characters you might see at like Art of Animation or Pop Century or even the All-Star resorts. And so I like what Disney is doing with I think in particular some of the deluxes where you're still getting some theming, but it feels maybe a little bit more modern or contemporary, or it doesn't lean into the theming as much. I feel like Saratoga Springs, I've stayed there a lot since they've done the remodel, and it's kind of similar to what we're seeing from Yacht and Beach Club, where you do see these touches of Disney, but it's always kind of in surprising places. And I think it's really well done. And to me, like, I can still feel like I'm staying at Disney, but it's not maybe cheesy the way that I might find, but that, a 5-year-old would love.
No, it's never cheesy. It's always magical. Let's make sure we keep that in mind. Speaking of magical, it looks like they finally took down the walls temporarily, maybe inside of the Grand Floridian. I was there not long ago, and it's just I still don't get like how you charge full price for a level of this, a hotel of this level, and have all of these walls that make it look like you're walking inside of like Times Square. I mean, there were just walls everywhere. You could hardly move in it. It just feels like there's got to be a better way, but maybe there's not. But it's nice to see it somewhat return to what it was supposed to be. And I saw some people in the chat also talking about the new Poly building, which, again, here's a taste of the islands. It looks our report here is that they have just added the first sliding glass doors. Does it look a little bit early, Desi, to start adding sliding glass doors to that building?
Maybe they were testing the hurricane proofness of those doors. I don't know. Apparently just the one room needed the doors.
Sure.
I don't know. I have no idea why there would just be one sliding glass door that they added.
How do you feel about this hotel in general? I mean, obviously it's going to get better, question mark?
I hope that it gets better. I mean, look how beautiful Aulani is, and that's a tower, so maybe. We'll see. I'll hope for the best.
Okay, yeah, let's do that. Let's all get together and hope for the best. I like that a lot. The next thing is over at the boardwalk. So this is a little bit different. They've made the announcement that the new cake shop is not going to be ready this year, which is actually a little bit flooring to me that one's not going to be ready. I mean, the concept art looks like it's ready, so can't we just walk through the concept art like some Mary Poppins situation and get to where we want to get all that cake? Not opening in 2023, but one of the things I didn't realize about this, I don't think, is that it's going to also have a sit down and a table service. So now I want this even more, because I feel like the boardwalk is one of those places that has the potential to be more than it is. And again, Shannon, I'm gonna throw this back to you. Do you ever go over to the boardwalk? Are you looking forward to this being there? And if not, when you go to the boardwalk, what do you do?
So yeah, I'm at the boardwalk all the time because I tend to stay at the yacht club. But every time I do walk on the boardwalk, particularly past this construction, I roll my eyeballs. They almost come out of my head, because why they think that this is going to be I feel bad, honestly, for the business, because I feel like it is kind of a kiss of death to have a third-party business at the boardwalk. Let's think about Cuisina. Let's think about Ample Hills. Like, they don't succeed. Disney just ends up taking over those spots. And when I'm going to Disney, I want Disney treats. I want Mickey-shaped treats. I don't want some outside company and their cakes from wherever they are in Indiana. So sorry to be the Debbie Downer on that.
So you didn't like the Ample Hills ice cream over there, is what you're telling me. It's like I could read through the subtext. You just didn't like the ice cream. That was it.
No, I like my beaches and cream. Come on, Rob.
I mean, everybody does, but if you can't get into beaches and cream, it would be nice to have an option. The other thing that happened was that the Boardwalk Deli, which just opened, they had this big grand opening with the pretty awnings and everything, and then they put up some construction walls. When it came back, oops, there's like holes in the walls, and did somebody? Here's my imagination at work. Somebody left their watch in the construction, and they decided they needed to put the walls back up and tear it all down to get the watch back out because it was a family heirloom. Thoughts, Kamila?
It was very sorry.
No, go ahead, Shannon.
Go ahead, Shannon. I can't wait to hear what you were going to say.
No, all I was going to say, I walked through the construction of this last week, and it felt like New York City scaffolding. So it was very dramatic scaffolding for whatever they were doing. So, yeah, I don't know what the deal was.
Yeah. Either of these two projects, Kamila, that you have thoughts on?
I mean, it will be exciting. I feel like when some of these walls come down around the boardwalk area, when I was last there, I think it was in April. I don't know, it kind of took away from it. And it's like, if you go on the boardwalk side, it's like right there, kind of in the front, as you cross over the gate or the little bridge. And so it'll just be nice when it all comes together. Um, but other than that, I mean, hopefully it's better than ESPN Club. I never particularly cared for that. So.
How dare you? How dare you?
I'm sorry.
You know what though? At least that one was somewhere like if you were a sports fan and you were there for any time, like during college basketball season or football season, it was a nice little place to go. It's just been a sad, strange little place since they haven't opened anything there in so long. It closed down. It may have been before COVID. It closed down, and it's just been nothing over there. And so, with Ample Hills like going, like you guys were talking about, I used to think it was almost like a mini Disney Springs happening over there. And then with like Atlantic Dance being closed for so long and Jelly Rolls being closed for so long, it just felt so empty and sad. And so I'm looking forward to some of this bringing hopefully a little bit more energy back to this area. Maybe they find a way to get more people over there. I don't know, but there's a lot of potential there, I think, in what they originally designed this to be. I would love to see an expansion somehow. You've got a lot of real estate between where the cake shop's going to be and where like the bridge is there toward Epcot. You could kind of expand that and have something more to do over there. I know that Desi likes to go ride Surrey bikes over there, right?
Yeah, I did almost run over some construction people, so maybe that's why they're behind. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Could be. I think in response to what you guys were talking about like just the brand names over there, G Skywalker in chat said we're going to see an Applebee's and a Panera on the boardwalk.
Oh, that would be so bad. So bad.
Yeah. Let's hope not. Let's hope not that's not the thing. City Walk comes to the boardwalk is what that'll be. So let's move on to the Briar Patch. This one, when I first saw this story, I was like, wait, the Briar Patch is back open again? They picked a really lousy time to do that, but it wasn't the one in Disney World we were talking about. It was the one in Disneyland that they've got some new pictures that they put up because I don't know if you guys know this, but they closed Splash Mountain. Did you guys?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I know.
Is that what the walls are?
I am so sorry to have been the one to break that news to you, but yeah, they did. But it's okay because they put up some generic pictures instead. And I don't think most people are going to notice the difference, honestly. I think that they did a seamless job in going from one to the next. And honestly, it's I can't even tell the difference. Like, which one's now? I mean, I don't think they've changed the name of it outside either. It's just like, there's a bear. You had a bear before, you got a bear now. I don't see what the problem is there. So, but honestly, Kamila, shouldn't they just shut this shop down until they reboot all this stuff?
What's funny is, so I was just in Disneyland, and like with Splash Mountain being closed, that whole area back there is just pretty empty. Like, Pooh meets back over there, and then you can go on his ride, but it's very empty. And I remember looking back and like noticing that shop was open and being like, oh, and they were like selling things. And I kind of have had the mind to be like, let me go check it out and see what's in there. Just curious what they were doing with the space. But I'm hoping that eventually they just turn it into something that's, I guess, related to the new ride coming in, because it just seems like otherwise, why is it there? So hopefully eventually it'll continue its transformation. But even I thought I was surprised to like look back and see it open.
Yeah, exactly. My favorite part though is that our team went onto the website and found out that you could buy this exact artwork, Wise Old Wood Owl art, online. Man,
sale.
Wayfair, you're just what I need. This is really
great advertising for that site. I mean,
it is.
How much did we get paid?
I don't think we're getting any
affiliate link.
Any affiliate links on that
No
one.
Sponsorship.
Yeah, but at least it's open. But like, why? And I mean, that shop's not all that big a deal, and there's nothing really. I think it's mostly hats.
It's such
right?
a dead area.
Yeah. It just almost feels like, again, that's an easy area that they could have cut off completely, and it would have been okay. But I mean, our briar patch on the East Coast hasn't been open at all, and I don't think anybody's missing it too hard. So, let's move on to what?
The
Why?
theming in that's one of the best themed gift shops. What are you talking about, Rob?
I wonder what that's going to look like in the Tiana era. I wonder what she has in mind for that space, because it looks exactly like you wanted a briar patch to look, kind of hidden in the side of the mountain. So I don't know what she's going to do to make that area better, but Tiana 2024. That's what I keep telling people. So let's go and talk a little bit about Lorcana, because Desi was like, look, if there's one thing we're going to talk about tonight, it's Lorcana, and I cannot wait to talk about Lorcana. So no, she didn't. She actually said, for the love of God, why are we talking about this? But the thing is that Lorcana has been crazy to get your hands on, and people have just been going nuts, because, and again, it hits from just the right spot, really. It's the Disney collectors meets with like the whole Pokemon, limited edition card game thing. So they did open it up to the parks, and it was nuts. Like, I don't know how people knew that they were supposed to go to the pin stand at Disneyland to get these, but people were lined up there to do it. And they even had, Disney knew this was going to be crazy. They had specialty signs that they had made up for it so that people would know the rules. They did that thing. Does everybody do this, or just Disney, where they print out the whole menu thing and make it laminated and hand them out to you in line? Is that just a Disney thing? I don't know.
I've seen it other places too.
Have you?
For launch days, yeah.
So they even had these nice Disney Lorcana trading game rules about how many you could buy, and I mean, they were ready for this, because, and I don't know if they knew it was going to be big before it released to game stores on August 18th or not. But then the line at Disney Springs for World of Disney, they had it all stacked up in the back, and it was almost like people trying to get the face masks during COVID. Remember how crazy that was, the PPE? That's kind of what this felt like. I don't know. Shannon, why do you not like Lorcana?
I never heard of it until I saw the WDWNT article. So I'm.
Wait, so
you know what I did collect? I'm way late to the game on these. These were fantastic.
Oh, so the transportation cards.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's all I
nice.
know.
Yeah, well, hopefully they won't do a reprint on those, and they'll be valuable someday. But this isn't your haul, Shannon? I thought you didn't take this picture?
Definitely not.
Okay, gotcha. All right, since again I think that the level of excitement. Let's talk about food. You guys like food, right? Let's move on to the treats that they have at Disney Springs, because I don't know that I ever go out of my way to go to Disney Springs for the limited edition Halloween treat stuff, but they've got some here that I feel like are worth going to see. One of them is this apple cider slush. So that one looks cool. And then we've got this mini waffle cone bubble waffle sundae, which I feel like, Desi, you need to get one of those for the gram. And then this Haunted Mansion cone that has materialized there. But this is the one that looks good to me. This Dole Whip, almost like a flight that they have, these diverse flavors of Dole Whip. I mean, can you even call it Dole Whip if it's pumpkin spice flavored, Desi?
Yes, you can. And I would. In fact, I even talked with my husband before we got on air to say that I wanted to go to Disney Springs to get these treats. Probably my go-to treat at Walt Disney World is a Dole Whip, but my favorite ice cream to have at home is pistachio, and my husband's favorite ride is the Haunted Mansion. So, I mean, a pistachio Haunted Mansion Dole Whip, I need this in my life. Also, the apple slush with the Fireball whiskey, yes, please. I mean, this is absolutely worth going to Disney Springs and making a special trip for, in my opinion. I'm probably going to go next weekend just to get those treats.
I love that you've already like justified all this in a speech you've already given to your husband. You're like, you like pistachio, right? And he's like, where are you going with this, Desi? And she's like, hear me out. We got some treats to go try out, and he can be your Instagram boyfriend and take pictures the whole time.
Exactly.
Do you go for this kind of stuff, Shannon, when you're going there? Would you make a special trip for this stuff?
No, I won't go out of my way, but I think it's cute. I'm happy it's there. And if something, sparks the mood, then I'll get it. I'm pretty indifferent about it.
I gotcha. Kamila, which one is your favorite, and why is it the pumpkin spice Dole Whip?
I feel like they all look really good, and I wish Disney would like have kiosks in like local malls around the country where like the rest of us could have access to this, because I agree.
Yeah.
When I'm at the parks, I'm not thinking about going to Disney Springs, definitely not, for a treat. I feel like it's probably more for locals, but like if I had this in my local mall, I would absolutely, go try to get it.
See, I've had that thought about Disney restaurants in general. Is like, I know that in the 90s, Michael Eisner tried to say, let's put ESPN Club everywhere, let's put Disney Quest everywhere, and it didn't work out. But I feel like if you put a sci-fi dine-in in like 20 towns across the country or something like that, that feels like it would work. But I mean, maybe I guess maybe it wouldn't. Maybe you'd get sick of it, kind of like the Rainforest Cafe. I think that they had a bunch, and they probably closed a few in places like that. But I mean, again, themed dining seems like a great idea to me. But again, it's because I don't live in Orlando, and then when I go to Orlando, I've got to make decisions about which places am I going to go. Am I going to go to Monsieur Paul or Casey's Corner? I don't know. I really never know which one. I know that for you guys, Casey's Corner just probably doesn't tip the scale. But speaking of dining, there were a couple things that came up with dining that I wanted us to cover this week, and one of them is that the dining plan now has, and Kamila, I'm coming to you with this one, a ticketless dining plan package, because I think the deal was that the dining plan, for you to get it, you had to buy tickets and room, complete package, and now they're giving you the opportunity to do it with just a room and still get the dining package, right?
Yeah, and I really like this. Is it just a room though, or is it just tickets?
No, it says it's ticketless. Ticketless dining plan package. Yeah, because I think if it was just tickets, they'd have to open up the dining plan to everybody. But I think this one's just you can just book your vacation without the tickets, whereas before it had to be one plan. And one of the things it says about this is the back-to-back thing, whereas like if you had like 2 trips back-to-back, and one of your orders or your plans had tickets and the other one didn't, then you wouldn't be able to do that. So.
Yeah, so it probably helps with like split stays and some of those like more technical things. But I do think also you see kind of an increase of people who, are going to be in the Florida, Orlando area. They want to stay at Disney, but they don't necessarily want to go to the parks. And so you see, I feel like more people wanting to do resort stays, or like if they're going to go in the parks, it's one day. So I think having access to something like this, it just really helps from a budget perspective. It's interesting though, because I think food continues to be like the one thing where it's just hard to budget for that and to know how much you might spend, even when you have some of the dining reservations, and so you think you can plan around that. But I've been glad to see some of the changes Disney has continued to make around dining, around the app, and around booking your dining. Like I feel like they're listening to a lot of the feedback and making updates, so that's good.
Honestly, I kind of, that was the other part I wanted to talk about, was the changes to the app and to the website. I kind of love it. Normally when it comes to Disney tech, we usually go, well, you screwed that one up. But I think in this case, I feel like it's actually that they, listened, as you said, and they came back with some good ideas. So when you go through now with the app, you can choose, okay, I've chose my party size and I chose my date, and then it says what time, and you can do an all day, before 12, 12 to 4, and and after. So I've been planning mine in the past few days with it, and I kind of love it. Especially, it surprises me every time online because it comes up and it's set, and I click the dining, and I'm expecting some very complicated interface, and it comes up with these nice little clean circles that says how many people, 1, 2, 3. I'm like, oh yeah, it's this thing again. It actually works pretty well. So, Shannon, I know you just got back. I don't know if you've gotten a chance to take a look at this one yet or not.
I did,
or if it
and
makes a difference to you.
Yeah, I felt like there were a lot more options than you would normally see in the past. Because sometimes you'd have to pick a specific time, other times you just have to say breakfast. It was really hit or miss what you could see. So having full visibility into the restaurants was great. I loved it. I think it's a great change. And I don't know if it's just because the parks are a little less crowded than usual, but it felt like there were some restaurants that had availability that perhaps don't usually. So.
That's exactly what I was thinking too, is that it does feel like restaurants that normally would be like, okay, I'm never going to be able to get in there, like now they would show up with options. And it seems to remember the last things you've done, which is kind of cool. But the online interface anyway, see, there's the nice little circles I was talking about. So if you click 2 and then you click your date, and then it tells you if you have times. This is Oga's. When I'm on the app, I never see this much availability for Oga's. So to your point of what you were talking about, this is crazy to me that there's this much. I think I put it in for Friday, September 8th, and I'm like, how is that on a Friday? Are we seeing that many Oga's? Because normally it may not even show up for me, and maybe it would have been that old, it's not necessarily breakfast, lunch, or dinner, so I would have had to have specifically gone to the 9 o'clock hour for this to have popped up. This to me is a huge upgrade, and kudos to Disney, because I know sometimes we kind of like, again, poo-poo them, especially on technology, and this one I'm like, okay, you got it. That's, way to go. Desi, anything on this before we go? Because I know that as a local, you probably just have like you go in through the kitchen door when you walk in. I don't know how that works.
No, I am super lazy about it, and I don't pick out my dining usually until the day of. So it's usually bottom of the barrel scraping. So I'm excited that I might actually be able to see some more options. We'll see.
Very cool. Okay. So moving on to the West Coast and the Magic Key. I don't know. I have a Magic Key. Although I'm trying to figure out if I should continue, because when they came through the last time, it was September. And so I actually am to the point where I'm going to have to go through and decide if I'm going to invest or not. Because at the time it seemed like a good idea. And then if you didn't renew, you were kind of like out of luck completely. So they have this deal here where they have these exclusive Magic Key Haunted Mansion. Wait a minute. I don't think I'm going to be able to get out to California for this one. Crap. Tell you what, you guys hold here. I got to get in touch with my hookup and
Your
see
dealer?
If my dealer. I got to hook up. You guys sit tight. I'm going to talk to my dealer about this real quick because I'm going to need these cards. Allie, I'm going to need these cards. Are you going to be able to hook me up or what? So tell me about these cards, and also, are you holding my Baymax hostage?
No. I would never.
We'll talk about Baymax in a second, because we're going to talk about San Fransokyo and how much time you just spent in San Fransokyo. But with these cards, they're limited to the folks that are Magic Key holders, and I think it's like through September. So I don't think I should probably. I don't think I can get permission to fly down for this. So
you should absolutely fly out here. But if you cannot fly out here, we will grab some for you. Yeah, it looked like it was just Monday through Thursdays, I believe, starting tomorrow. So I will not be there tomorrow, but I will be there Tuesday for the Oogie Boogie night, and I will grab some cards for you. I think it's great that they're doing this.
And it's not. Yeah. For what in particular, though? It looks like it's just like a perk for Magic Key. It doesn't look like it's in celebration of anything other than, I guess maybe we could call it a celebration of like Halloween. But like, why didn't these come out for the Haunted Mansion like movie? I don't know why.
Maybe they were just delayed. Maybe they were trying to get them for the movie. I don't know. Or maybe they just like Magic Key holders better than Florida Pass holders, because we've been getting a lot of stuff. So.
Well, and then I was just talking about this, the Magic Band. This is one that we already have, right? It's not anything new.
Yeah, we've had that one. That's actually me. So I bought the Baymax pin so that Kevin could then also have the free magic band. So it was only that magic band. I'd literally just gotten one for Nana, and I was like, is it only this magic key? Because I already own this. And the lady's like, yeah, we have a ton of them. We are trying to get rid of these bands. So you could literally buy a lollipop and you would get a band. There was
What
no
did I pay
limit
for
on
that?
it.
40, 45, 50?
No. So I would think no, that one was on sale. I think that one was like 30, but it's still like, really? Like I could have gotten this for like $2. Super frustrating, but
Wow.
I mean, it's a cool perk. Like, at least they're trying to do something. Yeah.
No, it's a great perk, but it's just like, what? And you know, of course, they probably could have sent them to the character warehouse or whatever to get them discounted. So let's talk a little bit about Baymax Land, as I keep calling it. San Fransokyo opened up, and you were there. I know we've been talking about it ad nauseum, but you were there, and you got he's a thing of beauty. Look at that, the Baymax zipper. And you said this one was like a reprint of some sort. Is that right?
Yeah, so I guess they had it before. I don't have the original one, but before he didn't have this red bottom. It was just the white Baymax, and he was more, I don't know, this one doesn't feel like super high quality, but it's Baymax, and I don't care. I love him.
It's Baymax, and I don't care. Now, you tried the food at Aunt Cass's, and that was new, right? That just came out on the 31st. So what was the best thing that you had there, and why?
Ooh, the best thing was probably the soba noodle salad. They had a vegetarian version with tofu, and then they had a version that still had the tofu that had shrimp, and it had like roasted corn, edamame, these like really, really good soba noodles, and it was a really hot day, and it was just super refreshing. There was a ton of flavor to it. It was really, really good. Like, I feel like we need more healthy options in the parks, and this is a great option. But everything there was really, really good. We were pleasantly surprised.
Okay, so I also have to ask you about the Baymax Bread, because you made it a point last week to tell Patrick you were going to bite Baymax's head off.
I did.
And so this was the Baymax Bread. I think it was, are the eyes like chocolate or something?
The eyes are chocolate chips, yeah.
Okay. And so that's part of the bread tour, which we thought the bread tour originally, when they put all this together, was going away in lieu of a Baymax meet and greet, but they added a new space for that, right?
Yeah, so Baymax is over where the beer truck used to be, the meet and greet.
But there's still beer for you there, though, right? Because I know that's a big deal for you.
That is a big deal for me. Yes, because they added the cerveceria next to the Cocina Cucamonga, Cosamina. I don't know, the Mexican place. But yeah, so there's that store over there now, and then the whole big Baymax and Hiro meet and greet, which was, ridiculously chaotic. Baymax is amazing. He talks, he moves, he does ba la 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 with everybody. If you want him to, he'll give you a hug. Hero was super fun, but my biggest complaint with it was just like there was a massive line, and they couldn't guarantee that you would meet Baymax. So we waited in the massive line twice, and we were almost to the front. Baymax scooted away, and they're like, oh, it'll be Hero next. And it was like people were not super happy about that. So it's a risk that you run getting in that line. You might get Hero, you might get Baymax, you might get both.
That seems absurd to me. Who is, like, I think it would be cool to meet Hero with Baymax, but like, who's waiting in line just to see, no offense, Hero, but who's waiting in line just to see him? That's almost like, hey, we're gonna, we're putting you in line to see, like Max's power line, and you get up to the front and it's just like some dude named Max. Like, I mean, it would be weird for me, like, to have waited that long, and obviously people wanted Baymax. I don't understand that one at all. I mean, most of the character greetings, they would like take a little break and come back, and wow, that seems weird. The merchandise, did you go nuts over the merchandise? Because I feel like you probably have 2 of everything at your house.
I behaved. I only bought the sipper, I bought a sign, and I bought 2 phone cases.
Oh, only 2 phone cases.
I bought that one right there, the red one, and then that one, the squeezy Baymax one. Yeah, that one's cute.
Okay, Allie, just so I can make sure I understand this, how many phones do you own?
1.
Oh, okay. Says the guy who's addicted to popcorn buckets.
I also bought this,
Oh, that is a cool sign. I do like that.
Yeah.
I do like that. The other thing you did out there, oh wait, actually, so let me just ask you this: as a huge Baymax fan, 1 to 10, how would you rate your experience with the overlay of San Fransokyo?
I'm gonna give it an 8, but I'm gonna wait because I didn't get to see it at night. Like they've added a ton of lanterns, decor, lights on the bridge, so I feel like once I'm able to do that on Tuesday night, I will probably bump that up a little bit. The food is all really, really good. It's themed well. It's a good mix of like LA, like there's some Asian in there, there's some Mexican in there, like there's something for everybody. They were a little brave with some of the options, which I really like. There's a lot of stuff, but it feels very like authentic to the movie, where the movie just seems a little chaotic with like lots of just, you know, billboards and posters and signs everywhere. And it's like, and everywhere you turn the corner, it's like they've added something new. And I think they overall did a really good job. The meet and greet, like I said, minus the fact that you might not get to meet Baymax, is really good. The area is really cool. They did a lot of really good detailing with it. And it's just, it added something to that area that I think needed to be refreshed. And obviously as a Baymax fan, I love it, but it's cool. Like it's still California kind of, you know, I still have my issues with that, but it's all right. Like they did a good job, but it's
So
not
8 out of
it's
10.
not Cars Land.
Gotcha. 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
And how long do I have to stand in San Fransokyo before I hear Fall Out Boy?
They had 0 Fall Out Boy. It's, yeah, that song
It
was
just
not
dropped
there.
to
It's not
6 out of 10 for me then. Sorry.
we did say that they should be playing that for sure.
Yeah, I mean, that would be awesome. We could be immortals. Let's go to talk about California's. It's Halloween time. We've teased this a little bit, but it's actually Halloween time now. It's spooky when you get there, and you're looking for more props, and it's my Mickey bucket. Look at that.
Yep.
I owe you so much money
Little-
for plastic stuff. It is obscene.
Yeah, he glows in the dark. All the white parts glow in the dark. The pumpkin lights up. You can't really see it right now. And it is also, in case you can't tell, this is massive. Like this thing is huge. And I think they are sold out of them already. So, but here's yours. He's here. He's safe.
Oh, nice. And then they have a lot of plastic stuff there. They brought back the mayor car that's in.
Oh my God, I got so much stuff here. Yeah. This is all Tom's stuff, by the way. I didn't buy any of this. Yeah. So they did, this is the travel tumbler. So it's got Oogie Boogie, Jack Sally, and then this is the gingerbread house that's in the Haunted Mansion. So they put that on the cup, which I thought was pretty cool. This is the popcorn bucket. Again, it's got Oogie Boogie and all the characters on it. Again, they did a really good job with this one. And then we got this little glow cube, Worm's Wart. This is over at DCA. It lights up.
Wow.
Yep, we got another glow cube. This one's super cute too. It's a little Mickey pumpkin. And then, oh, this was fun. This is giant too. So it's a Maleficent bottle topper.
Jeez.
So you can stick this on your Coke bottle or water bottle, and then it's got a little straw, and then you can be fancy walking around drinking out of this. Everybody needs that. We had this little alien glow or straw clip. So he's got his little pumpkin. He's cute. He's adorable. And then the thing everybody wants this year, the last thing, is this.
Really?
This is cool.
Well, what I mean, we've seen the skull already a bunch of times. What's different about this one?
So this year it's black, and then this is all iridescent. So it looks like, it doesn't look great in this light, but in the sunlight, it really sparkles and pops. It looks really good. And
Yeah,
it's really heavy, too. Yeah.
I talked myself out of the 100 Years one because it was just the same thing, purple and silver. And then the Donald Sipper.
Yep, that's the same.
back.
It's just the same that Florida has. It just glows in the dark, but it looks exactly the same.
And the Zero popcorn bucket, which is
It
it's
is
the
the
same but just a
same.
different strap because of the
They
30th
added-
anniversary.
Yeah, they added the collar thing. So I think Florida got that as well. I don't know.
Okay.
But it's still that giant zero, and it's got, they added the collar to it.
And you still don't know if they're going to do anything special for Oogie Boogie. You won't know that until probably you go, right?
I don't know, but I'm assuming we'll have more stuff. So just
Gotcha.
send me your list.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. By the way, in the chat, they're saying we all need to be friends with Allie, and then somebody else said, uh, "How do you eat the popcorn out of it?" And that's never the question. It's like, why would you put popcorn in it? Is more the question, right? Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
the Mickey, just to answer it, yeah, it's his head comes, the back of his head comes off.
Phew.
So super. I mean,
Thanks.
your hand, you can't even get your hand in there. It's stupid. So do not put your don't put your popcorn in there.
Yeah, no, exactly. All right, so real quick before we let you go, one of the things, a couple other things about Halloween time is they've got the new characters, the new character
Yeah.
outfits, and those look pretty awesome. Every year Disneyland does different character outfits, and every year I think they're pretty cool. This one is a little bit different from last year. Last year each character had their own thing, like that, you know, Mickey was wearing the pumpkin, and but I mean these look pretty cool. Have these characters appeared already, or are they to
Yep.
come? Okay.
No, they came out on opening day. The costumes look really good. I personally don't love the orange and teal. Like that's just my preference, but the costumes are super cute. And then I don't think it was in that picture, but it's in our pictures. Donald has little fangs because he's dressed like a vampire, and all the videos he's like poking his fangs, and it's really cute. So they did a good job with it. Just personally for me, I thought last year they were a little cuter, but they look good.
Yeah, the Coco celebration of Coco returns to Disney California Adventure, which I think is a pretty cool event or offering that they have. I feel like that probably happens over by Paradise Gardens. Is that where that usually?
Yep. Yeah, so
Okay.
they do the little Coco show there, and they have all the special food that comes out, and the meet and greet, and all the stuff for the Dia de los Muertos stuff. So they do a good job with that too.
And I don't know how much of this food you had to eat, but like I don't know if I love or fear this stuff with the red pepper cheese on like everything. Pumpkin churro funnel cake, that sounds fun, but like the red pepper cheese fries and the onion rings, the red pepper. I love spicy stuff. Have you tried this? Is it any good? It looks weird.
Uh, I did DCA that morning, and then I tapped out before Disneyland and let the other girl do Disneyland. My
Okay.
issue with the food every year is that it's either super sweet or it's, pepper or ghost pepper to be spooky. And not everything needs to have peppers on it. So, yeah, that's a returning one.
Yeah.
Spicy, again, everything's spicy. Some of it's okay. The food at Smoke Jumpers was pretty good. The churros at DCA were all pretty good. There was a really good drink at Smoke Jumpers. It was called Ghoulish Fizz. That was amazing. Like, if you like alcohol, go get that immediately. And like I said, the churros were good. And the Fluffernutter churro was back. That's my favorite.
Let me ask you finally about the Halloween fireworks because Wondrous is on hiatus and the Halloween Screams Nighttime Spectacular has returned. Is this a favorite of everybody's, the Halloween fireworks, or do you prefer the Wondrous?
I prefer Wondrous. I did Opening Night Halloween Screams. It is a good show. It is I do like it better than the holiday show, the Christmas show. It's fun. I like Jack. I like the mashup of all the music and the villains and everything. But coming off of Wondrous, it was rough. It was like the whole time I was standing there, I'm like, this isn't Wondrous. And I'm sad.
I'm sorry. Well, Allie, I appreciate you filling us in firsthand accounts on everything that happened in for Disneyland Halloween time for San Fransokyo, and yeah, if you can hook me up with those cards, I'd appreciate it. And I can't wait to see you again. Thanks for hanging out.
You are welcome. Cards and a mini sipper coming your way on Tuesday.
Shh! Don't tell anybody.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks, Allie.
All right.
So sorry about that, guys. That was a big deal. I had to make sure that we took care of all of that very important plastic stuff, and I'm sure you understand how important that was. And so what I want to talk about next is the Haunted Mansion has changed at Disneyland, and I'm sure that Allie's already been on this, but I want to get kind of thoughts from you guys here. It is now the Haunted Mansion Holiday. And I don't know, Kamila, you were just out there. Was it open when you were there? And did you get a chance to do it?
No, I unfortunately not. It was closed while I was there, but I could see like the outside, and I mean, it seemed like it was pretty much ready. Looks amazing as always. I love the Haunted Mansion, and I love the time when you get to do the Haunted Mansion holiday. I'm sad that this year I probably won't make it back to see it, but if you have a chance to go, definitely do it. So well done.
Yeah. I think that it looks amazing. One of the things that they change every year on it is the gingerbread, like the cake on the table. This year, they have a very special. They gave us a sneak preview of what it looks like, and it looks kind of amazing. And I love that they pump like the gingerbread smell through there when you're getting on there, so that you can see that too. But the other thing I wanted to talk about, which kind of shocked me that they released this information now and didn't hold this off for, say, I don't know, Destination D23 that we're going to talk about at the end, is that they talked about adding the Haunted Mansion grounds expansion, which would include a retail shop. So obviously in Florida, we have Memento Mori as the retail shop of the Haunted Mansion when you come out. But it looks like that they're going to have a shop to the right of the Haunted Mansion when you come out. Right now, there's just a cart when you come out, and it makes sense because they're renovating all this for Tiana and the Bayou Adventure that's going to be over there. So it makes sense that they would go, you know what, we are losing out on a great opportunity to have a gift shop right here and maybe have the same things that they have in Florida. I think all of this looks amazing. The grounds expansion looks amazing. I know that, Shannon, you were out at Disneyland not long ago. So do you see this and you get really excited about it? It seems like it's about time, right?
Yeah, I think this is a good thing because for me, not having gone to Disney, I mean, it was my second time going to Disneyland. The Haunted Mansion always felt like it was awkwardly shoved in there, and it was a pretty abrupt end where Mansion is and then Splash Mountain. So I think this will give Mansion a little more breathing room and a nice transition to the Bayou. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I cannot wait. I love the idea, though, too, that maybe this is an extension of the queue because, again, in Florida, we have a very expansive virtual queue. And I think that, Kamila, the queue for the one in Disneyland could not be more lackluster.
It's miserable. Yeah, I hate when it's like the lines and it's like the little string that forms the line and you're just wrapping around that and you feel claustrophobic and just surrounded by people. It's miserable until you get to the pre-show.
One of the things, and we've talked about this recently, I think, because of like the shoehorn that they do at Guardians, because there was a problem that we talked about where somebody got pushed, is that the mansion queue doesn't make any sense to me because you walk in one queue and then you kind of split into two and then you merge back into one and then they put you into the stretching room and then you come back into a single line from a group, and it's just like, could you just maybe tell everybody that's what it's going to be? I know it's going to be that way, but Sam and Ramona from Poughkeepsie, they don't know, and so it's really frustrating for me. They're like to try to get past them. Any thoughts on this before we move on, Desi?
I think it looks super cute. I wish that we had, I mean, I know that we already have a pretty cool queue, but I just, I wish that we had an expansion to what we have here. It looks super cute.
Yeah, and you're a pretty big Mansion fan, right?
Yes. My husband just bought a glow-in-the-dark Haunted Mansion wallpaper pattern suit jacket. That's how big of fans we are.
So for the sake of time, I'm going to skip over the Tiana stuff. It's just like we have like Tiana Watch 2023 where we just watch every single thing that changes, and they painted the building yellow. And I thought we should talk about it, but we'll skip that to talk about. Desi, I'll let you lead this conversation. You know, as your spirit guide, Moana is. It's looking like it's getting very close to opening. And one of the things that I thought was interesting about this is that for the 100 years of wonder celebration that's coming to Epcot, again, the celebration started on January 1st. I don't understand the celebration at all. It started on January 1st for an event that happens on October 16th, but it's going to be over by December 31st, and they're not going to start it until September 22nd at Epcot. Yeah, it's like, what? But we had this announcement come up that said that the Communicore Hall, Dreamers Point, and the Nighttime Spectacular would not be ready for the kickoff on September 22nd. But it looks like perhaps that Moana Journey of Water, Desi, is going to be ready in time.
Yeah, I'm super excited about it. Just excited to have the walls down and have a walking path. I think it's interesting that they have both a wet path and a dry path. Um, I guess couldn't the dry path be just walk around on the other side of it? But I can see why they would want that for people who want to see it, but without necessarily getting splashed themselves. My kids are super excited about it. They really want to see Tafiti.
And again, just kind of a spoiler alert for anybody is before I go through this is like just some of these pictures that we've seen here. So some people are going through it. This is a interesting post. But like the smoke effect coming off of this, and the water and the explanation of the water cycle, which makes it sort of an Epcot thing. This honestly, to me, Kamila, feels like something that they should have put in Animal Kingdom. Like, it doesn't look very Epcot to me. It looks very similar to like the Maharaja Jungle Trek or something along those lines.
But I do think, like, to the extent that it's, trying to educate you about the land, I do feel like it fits in Epcot also, just because of like the educational nature of it. And, you think about other things like the land, or even how they have, the videos, and I'm blanking on the name of it, but you can go learn more about ways to, I don't know, treat the environment better. And that's all in Epcot. And so I'm excited for this. I'm very interested to see it in person. I don't think it'll be open when I go in September, but I'll also be back in November. And so hopefully by then it'll be open and available. But I think little kids especially are really going to love this. And I think Moana is some IP that they really love. And I think for adults, look, if you can walk through something cool, maybe cool down on a hot day, that's a win. So I just am very curious to see this for myself.
Have you looked through the pictures?
Yes.
Okay. So sometimes that's the thing for me too, is like I don't want to see all of the details because I want to be like amazed when I go through there. But I don't know. I mean, Shannon, you were literally just there and had your own journey of water, but it was related more towards the storm. What do you think about all this?
I mean, I'm a Grinch. I never liked this project from the beginning, and I question the longevity of it. It seems like it has a lot of really cool features, but how many new attractions recently have had really cool things about it that no longer work? So yeah. I don't know. Is this going to get old quickly? How's the maintenance going to be?
Yeah, when I saw that smoke effect, it reminded me of Expedition Everest, where like when it first opened up, it had the smoke effect at the top, and the bird came up, and the Yeti worked, and then it's like, oh, the bird's not working? It's fine. And oh, the smoke effect? Oh, we'll just put it on when Joe Rohde comes, and then that's it. And then also the Yeti being broken. So you're right. I mean, this, especially if it's a sort of a hands-on situation, I mean, you're touching the water, you're not touching other things, but I've seen people just manhandle things they shouldn't do when they walk through. So I would love to see this early before something happens. But maybe they thought all that through.
Epcot.
You see the video of the people jumping on the pad to make the water. How many people are going to be stomping on that and waving their arms every day? Like, I just don't see it for the long haul.
Oh well, maybe it'll stand the test of time. We don't know.
Maybe.
All right. Well, you guys take a break. I was going to go to commercial, but instead, we've had Annie in an isolated booth waiting to talk about Halloween Horror Nights. So we're going to cut to her. You guys take 5. And Annie, are you okay? Are you okay, Annie? Is that funny?
We'll find out.
Funny. Yeah. Okay. Screw around and find out. Anyway, I thank you for coming on to talk about this, because we just had Halloween Horror Nights open up like days ago. It opened up September 1st, and you and I actually both went. And this is your Christmas. Halloween, how ironic, is your Christmas. What did you think about the houses? And I'll ask you about the overall in general at the end. But I mean, let's start with the houses. Which ones were you impressed with? I know you have a video where you talk about it, but which ones were you impressed with this year?
I was kind of put on the spot to make my list when I filmed that video. And full disclosure, I got a text from valet saying they were closing, so I felt really rushed all of a sudden. So I've kind of like reevaluated my list here. Um, but I think definitely Stranger Things is one of my favorite ones, and I know that people are gonna hate on me, but I really loved Darkest Deal, and Dueling Dragons has moved up on my list as well now. Um, but you were there too, so I know that I've gotten my whole list, but I haven't heard from anything from you. I
Well,
wanna know about
I mean,
yours.
honestly, I thought it was all amazing. I love it. As you know, I didn't actually get into Halloween Horror Nights until later on, and so with Halloween Horror Nights, I always preferred Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, and that was my answer to that. And then I did it in 2019, and the Ghostbusters house changed my life. I was a huge fan of Ghostbusters, and that house was so detailed, and I was like, how do they set this up just for one season and then tear it all down? It was amazing. So I came back and looked at at it in 2021 or no 2022 last year. I came back and saw it again, and the houses were really great last year. I enjoyed all of them, and this year, the ones that I think that stood out for me were the Dueling Dragons, and we went through that house a bunch of times because it's really an interesting storyline. And then we went to Stranger Things, and I think that's probably my favorite, just because I'm a fan of that IP. That maybe made the entire difference about that one. I did like some of the others and some of the homegrown ones, but the ones that are not IP based, I don't think I get as into. But
Oh,
I
okay.
mean, I think for you, a lot of it is universal lore. So like Doctor Oddfellow is probably more up your alley than it is mine.
Yeah, definitely. I like that they have, more room to play around with the originals than the IPs personally. But that's why, I love Stranger Things though, because I love the show. So it was very much like being in the actual show, and just I felt like all the set pieces were just larger than life this year. And I know that you said you've only been going, since like 2019 and last year, but just in the last few years, the amount of how just they've gotten so much bigger, and just I'm just in awe every time. And I felt like that was this year was just everything was just visually, I just couldn't stop looking at everything. Now, scare wise, I didn't feel like it was as scary, but I felt like everything was just more like the animatronics, the projections, the different uses of different things in there, in the houses that I hadn't seen before. I was blown away by that, but I just didn't get as scared as I feel like I have in the past.
I get that. And maybe it's just because we've gone too much. I don't know. There are a lot of people who this is their pilgrimage every year is to go to the Halloween Horror Nights and see it. And so, like I said, I didn't get that before. I get it now. But you kind of expect when you turn this corner and you see this open area, there's either there was just something there, there's going to be something there after I walk by, or it's about to come out. So I guess maybe that is part of it. But like the Chucky house was fun. I'm not a huge fan of Chucky. But I think that some of the things that they did in there were fun. The one thing that I will say, and I said this the other night, is that I feel like if you don't do your homework before you go in and know what the houses are going to be about, I think you lose out a little bit. There's some very crafty storytelling that goes into these, that when you walk into them, if you know what's going on. And I think if you come to wdwnt.com and or universalparksnewstoday.com and you read the articles that Annie has put together, or that our team has put together, you're going to see a lot of good information about the house before you go in, that I don't think is a spoiler. I think it's a story you need to know before you go in. And I think that because we went on a tour and we had somebody tell us, I think that made a big difference. I feel like, especially with some of the original houses, that it's nicer to know ahead of time what it is you're going into. Otherwise, you may not enjoy it as much. Disagree or what?
Oh, absolutely. And it's funny because I was thinking the exact same thing this afternoon about how, Universal does their podcast where they tell a lot of the backstory and lore and everything. But, like a lot of people are busy and just don't have time, or, maybe the event, comes up and it's just like a last minute thing. Whereas on the RIP tour, we were given the stories before we went in the house, and I feel like that makes all the difference in it. So, you know, guests that maybe just are going in blind without any kind of background may not appreciate it as much, but with our guide, like the backstory before we went in, like I get the Chucky house. I disagree with you. It is the worst house in HHN history. Well, I'm sorry, you can call me
The
whatever.
worst house?
The worst. I haven't even been going that long, but I guarantee that's somebody that's been going their whole life is going to agree. Somebody in the comments, please, somebody out there, because oh bad. I couldn't believe when we came out and everyone in the group was like, "Yeah, that was good." Oh
I did not say it was my favorite. I said it was that I thought it was
no.
cool because like again, no spoilers on it, but there were some things in there that I thought were cool. Now it is very meta, the storyline of how it is put together, and that was a risk. That was an absolute risk to say this is a house that Universal built, and then they asked Chucky to come look at it because they were really proud of it, and he hated it, and he murdered everybody, and he made his own house. And so if you don't know that going in, that's kind of tough to know, like kind of figure out. So I feel like you got to know that going in, like we did. But interesting that you would think that that was the worst house you've ever seen in your history of going.
There is
That's stunning.
there is a
Wow.
reason it is inside Fast and Furious, because that is the worst ride, the worst house.
I
I
mean,
I
yeah, the black phone from last year probably also in that building was another one that was just like, maybe it is cursed. I don't know.
Freaky
Um,
was terrible. Yeah, that was, or
so
whatever
let's
that
talk it
one
again.
was.
Let's talk about the scare zones. I didn't really feel like we took too much advantage of scare zones, but one of the problems on opening night was it rained, and so it was a little bit harder, I think, to get going on the scare zones. The first one we just kind of walked through, but I think that some of them, like the Vamp 69, we got to experience in its full, and the what was it, the Dock
The
32,
shipyard, yeah.
yeah. Or are there any of the scare zones that stand out to you, or were you? How did you feel about scare zones? Because you've been back.
Yeah, I went last night, but I didn't even get to do much of the scare zones. I I spent most of the time eating. I think I spent the entire night eating. So I still haven't seen the Megans. I haven't seen the Death Eaters. I did see David S. Pumpkins. Real awkward. That's real awkward. I
So
did see
David S.
him.
Pumpkins is here. My wife looked at
Yeah.
this and said it looks more like Ross from Friends than it does. Looks like um, looks like Tom Hanks. So,
Oh no, I can't unsee it now.
oh yeah, yeah, it's
Oh
definitely
yeah, now
definitely
I
Ross
see
from
it.
Friends.
I see it.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
You know what? And yeah, I wanted to see that, and also the Death Eaters. You guys got a chance to go see the Death Eaters. What did you think of that? Is it a show? Is
I
that all it is?
I didn't even see them. Everybody
Oh,
else went and saw them. Yeah, I was eating. I've been eating food. I ate all the food. But we do have video of the Death Eaters. I haven't made it out to see them, and we can't find the Megans. They're
the
out there
Horde.
though.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is the one thing
Um,
that was like the number one thing I wanted to see. But like you said, the rain kind of ruined a lot of things on that opening night. So
yeah.
between food, I couldn't I couldn't do much.
Let's talk about real quick the food. What was it that you tasted this year that you were like, this is exceptional? Because I think you told me at pre-show that you thought the food was above average this year.
I It was great. Like I was so surprised how it was really good. They brought just a couple things back. One of the few things that like were really good from last year got brought back, but almost everything else was new. And there's the vegan poutine was out of this world. Like even Tom said he was going to become a vegan because he liked it so much. Just it was so good. Um, the Hellfire Club was delicious, which I didn't get that
The
reference.
joke was it was a club sandwich. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
that was delicious. Skip the carnival dog. That that is something you
It doesn't look
yeah.
good at all. Yeah.
It's
Uh,
got a bubblegum mustard on it and Kool-Aid pickles and a funfetti bun. Skip that. So there,
That's so
there's
weird.
some, yeah.
Sometimes they're just
There's
weird to
a
be weird, aren't they?
Yeah, but then there's some weird flavor combinations like the peanut butter burger that has like raspberry jelly and stuff on it and bacon and peanut butter and all that and jalapenos and that's delicious. Absolutely
Okay.
delicious. Sounds weird, but it works.
All
So, but
right. So
overall the food and the drinks are outrageously better this year.
okay, that's a good thing to hear. And we've got a review video coming on that apparently Desi is currently editing for you, because she said in
Thank
the
you,
chat it's
Desi.
gonna look amazing because she's editing it. So be
I
on the
I
lookout for
heard
that.
somebody else was doing it, so I didn't know who it was, so I'm excited. I believe in you, Desi.
Yeah.
Make me look
Um.
great.
So the have you been to the Dead Coconut yet?
Yes, and their drinks are so much better. That's another thing. Like their drinks were not that great last year, and this year they're fantastic. It got a completely new overlay. It's still obviously Halloween and spooky and all that, but it's the Revenge of the Dead Coconut Club in 3D, so it's like a 3D, a film. So upstairs there's like the projector with some like old clips of like the monster movies, and the monsters are like watching the movies, and there's like a snack bar, which is the bar. There's live entertainment. The monsters are there. There's Dracula, there's Frankenstein's monster, there's the bride. um, there's live entertainment. The sirens are there and they're performing on the stage. And like I said, the drinks. You reminded me the drinks were great. The drinks are great. I was really impressed. So you got to go out there. I'm sorry that you didn't get a chance to check it out, but you got to come back.
Okay. All right. You don't have to tell me
It's
twice. I'll
it's
do it.
it's totally worth it. It's one of the things that I'd say is the highlight of this year.
The the Dead Coconut is the highlight.
Yeah,
So the highlight
yeah.
of Halloween Horror Nights is a thing that's at City Walk.
Well, no, it's not the highlight of Halloween Horror Nights, but
But
it's
you loved
pretty
it.
up there. It's pretty up there, yeah.
I gotcha. So let's talk about one of the things that you thought at one point wasn't going to happen, which was the Mel's die-in um, sign. So this was actually a thing that was lit up, is the Mel's die-in, and I think originally your thought was this wasn't going to happen because Mel's has
Yeah,
been
and well,
closed, right?
yeah, it's still closed, and even like the first night, it was the light was off completely on team member preview, so they didn't have any neon. Luckily, it's saved, and now it's on. Although yesterday it did say me die, so half of Mel's was out. So hey,
You just
you
can't make
know,
you happy. Wow, that's crazy. One last thing that we talk about a lot of times on this is the tribute store. So the tribute store this year, tell me a little bit about the tribute store and how you think it rates and compared to years past.
and that's here we got to talk about the tribute store is probably the top thing that I've been most excited for Halloween Horror Nights, and it's over the top this year. The facade is bigger. Look how huge that is. And the windows are full of details. There's so many Easter eggs for fans of the tribute store, of Halloween Horror Nights. I mean, as soon as you walk in, you just could spend all day in there. It's as immersive as the haunted houses. Like when you go through those houses, they rush you through. You gotta, you wait in long lines, but the tribute store you can spend all day in and appreciate every little detail. And I mean, the projections on the floor, like the rain is on the floor, the rain that's falling in the room is on it's uh, that is the highlight of Halloween Horror Nights is the tribute store.
And it looks like a comic book when you're walking through, right? So you've got this big comic book out here, and then there's the like speech bubbles as you're going through.
It's an original story that was created for the tribute store. So they've kind of started doing their own thing, and each room, there's 4 rooms, and each room is themed to a different story. So the first one is Grave Consequences, and as you look around the room, you can see the story kind of playing out and read along there. And then the second one is False Idols with like Boris Schuster, and you can see all these details, and again, the projections and things, and just all these little Easter eggs, and you can read the story. And there's 4 rooms, and you can even buy the comic
That's cool.
of the tribute store. So there is an original comic this year of the tribute store, and so it's got the 4 stories of each of the rooms in there. So obviously I have one, and it's awesome.
They spared no expense. That's fancy. Yeah. One last thing about the tribute store, though. Apparently there is a tribute in the tribute store to the Great Movie Ride.
Tom got very emotional, so that doesn't happen often, does it? He said told me he believes this is the best tribute store that they've ever done.
Okay.
So,
and then next,
if Tom, who likes nothing, says that, I mean, I can say all day that it's the best, but I'm telling you, he told me that too.
Well, and you're going out to California to experience and report on their Halloween Horror Nights, and you're going out this week to do that, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that'll be exciting, and we can tune into UniversalParksNewsToday.com to get all of that information. One last thing before I let you go that I want to make sure everybody knows: if you are new to Halloween Horror Nights, and you're looking to get tickets, there are a bunch of different levels of tickets, but I feel like some of them are sold out, right? Because you had like the Rush of Fear, and then you have the one that I forget the name of it, that you can use all season long, or you can buy single night tickets, right?
Some of them have you select a start date. So the first 2 dates were not available, so you could purchase the multi-night ticket. You couldn't pick Friday, Saturday. So I believe that as you could still buy single night tickets for those. I think as they get, start selling more tickets, they might have more cutoffs like that. So I would say if you're planning on buying a multi-night ticket, like buy it now, buying it while you can, because if you're going to plan to try to do it on the day of it, you might get cut off.
Well, we don't want to do that. I was shocked that I was able to get one for opening night and that they were still available, and so definitely check it out. If you have not taken in Halloween Horror Nights, it's not just like the haunted house down the street from your house. It is not one of those like where you go in and put your hands in a bowl full of like grapes. It is actually is stunning the way that they've done this on a movie set level, with the houses and the scare actors. I don't know how they do it. There are some that, like, there's a guy that jumped out with a bloody arm, and he jumped out with and then he goes back, and then like 30 seconds later he jumps and I'm like, good Lord, you're gonna have to do this all night long for like 2 months? That's crazy. But they rotate the scare actors through, and I think again they really do a good job. This is where, to me, Universal shines so bright. So thank you, Annie, for all the reporting that you do from there, and for letting us in on all of the information as it happens at Universal Parks. And we'll have you back later on to update us on everything else that happens new. But I appreciate it. Any final thoughts before we move on?
I have to ask you, what was the house you liked the least? I want to know. I'm putting you on the spot.
So for Tom, it was The Last of Us. I don't agree with that one. For you, it was Chucky, apparently, and I don't agree with that one either. The probably, and I forget the name of it, the Deal one, which is an original one.
Darkest Deal, that was my
Darkest
number
Deal.
one.
So Darkest Deal had a couple of neat little effects in it. I will give you that. Like, I don't think there were any that were awful on these houses, because I really do think they do a good job. But Darkest Deal was one of those where I was like, again, if they hadn't explained it to me before I went in, I'd have been lost. So, I mean, to me, that was the one that was just like, it was okay. Some of the others that are original IP were really on an epic level, like the Blood Moon one. I loved, the way that they set up the town and everything, and you could see the guy up, and again, no spoilers. But I do think that, to me, the Darkest Deal was probably the one I would have put at number 10 if I had gotten a chance to do my list. But again, probably number one for me was Stranger Things. As scare actors, just like dead ringers for pun intended for the cast of Stranger Things. I thought that was really well done, and I remember that from the last Stranger Things house, that they just were like, how did they do that? That looks great. So I don't know. I don't know but again, like Annie says, we would love to get your comments in here from you guys. What things, once you go through, are your favorites, or what you just love about Halloween Horror Nights? We'd love to hear from you. So Annie, again, thank you as always. I appreciate it. And yeah, have a good night. And in lieu of actually skipping to a commercial, since we're going so late, I want to hit back with our regular panel and talk a little bit about our final topic, which is Destination D23, which happens this weekend in Orlando, or this weekend as in 6 days from now in Orlando. Destination D23, for those of you guys that don't know, is not Expo. D23 Expo happens in Anaheim and is like a full court press of everything that Disney does. Destination D23 is a little bit seemingly more parks related. The content that they do there is they have a lot more panels that are kind of like past, present, future of Disney. They do some stuff that is other pieces of the company, and I think that Josh Jamar will be there. That's really the only reason to go, I think, is that Josh Jamar will be there. I'm going to it. I don't know. Is anybody else here going to it? No, not a chance. Okay, cool. But I do want to say that I think when they roll these things out, that they do usually do some announcements for like things that are coming up, or roll out some specialty things that we hear about later. So I'm excited to see what kind of things they're going to roll out this year. And so what I figured I would do is ask the folks on the panel here what things that you think that they would be announcing. That's why I thought it was funny that that breaking news we had about the Haunted Mansion expansion seemed like it would have been perfectly fit for Destination D23. But I have a little poll on the side, if you guys will humor us here, about what you guys think in the chat you would expect to see. So new announcements. Do you think there'll be announcements of some things we don't know about yet? Or do you think it's going to be just updates on the current projects we have? Like, when is Moana opening up officially? When is the Communicore Hall opening up? When are different things that we've already heard about opening up? Or do you think it's going to be both, that we're going to hear new stuff and updates? Or do you think it's going to be none of it or something else? So pound 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the chat if you want to weigh in. We'd appreciate it. But let me start by showing something that is usually the nighttime stuff isn't all that exciting at these things. It's usually like something you can skip. But they made this announcement this week, which has our heads spinning about what this could be, is that there's going to be an Epcot night for the people who go to Destination D23. So it's an evening event with special surprises. We're hoping that they'll let us go through the coveted Moana Journey of Water, and then also there was the thought that maybe the Figment meet and greet might be ready. I'm holding my breath for neither. So, Kamila, what kind of things do you think we're gonna hear, or would you like to hear them say out of Destination D23?
I mean, I would love some exciting new announcements. I would love some updates on the Blue Sky brainstorming session that they did last time. Here's what we came up with out of that. But I think realistically, we're probably going to get updates on current projects. Maybe we'll get some timelines for Tiana that are a little more specific. Maybe we'll get a timeline for Moana of when that attraction will actually open. But I'm not expecting any big or very exciting announcements, which is interesting because I feel like Disney is definitely under pressure to do a lot given Universal's epic universe. But I feel like it's going to be some more specifics on things that we already know about.
Yeah. You sound like Judi Dench. And here are some things that we all already know about. Here's a look at the schedule for the first day that starts with a celebration of Disney Parks experiences and products yesterday, today, and tomorrow. So I'm assuming Josh will be there for that. There's some entertainment stuff in here. 100 Years of Classic Characters. The Disney Cruise Line. I hope we hear some stuff about the treasure during that one, although we already have a announcement coming this week for that. But at 420 is Epcot always in a state of becoming, which is interesting to me because we already have been told that Moana is the end of the restoration of Epcot. Bob Iger said that, and so always in a state of becoming makes it sound like there's something more coming to that. So, Desi, what are your thoughts on what could be coming, and or what you'd like to hear them say?
Fireworks? I mean, do we
Yeah.
really know anything about the Epcot fireworks show that's supposed to be coming? So maybe it's a preview of that. Maybe at least hear the soundtrack of what it's supposed to be, even if they aren't ready with actual pyrotechnics to give a preview. Maybe we get a name. What even is it? What's the theme going to be? So I think that maybe fireworks could be something that Epcot has that is in a state of becoming, because unlike the name might suggest, Epcot Forever is not supposed to last forever. So let's see what's coming next, and hopefully, if it includes barges, it includes barges that go away during the day.
It's funny that you would say Epcot Forever. It isn't going to last forever because it seems to. It seems to. It was
I
one of those
know.
where it was like it lasted way too long because they weren't ready for Harmonious, and then when they finally did Harmonious, people were like, "Ah, we hate the barges," and they're like, "Oh, sorry, multi-million-dollar barges. We'll just trash those and bring back Epcot Forever." I was talking to my son who's going to Epcot with some friends who have never been to Disney, and he said he's not going to take him to Epcot Forever because they wouldn't get it. Which I'm like, oh, okay. They don't understand fireworks and how they work. He's like, no, because of the music. I don't think that's a necessity, but I
I
do
don't
think
think
that
you
the
need
Epcot,
to.
yeah, I think it was for originally for fanboys, and that's great. Um, but yeah, Shannon, what are your thoughts on what will be coming?
Yeah, so I definitely don't think any new announcements, except maybe fireworks, because there's too much up in the air right now. And I kind of agree with everyone else. I think the focus here needs to be like we all need closure on Epcot. It's the state of becoming dirt. It's been dragging on for years and years. And like, when are we going to get this Dreamers Point? When is Communicore that was torn down to just be rebuilt going to be done? Moana Journey of Water, like we need to wrap this up and put a bow on it and move on with our lives. So once that gets done, I think then we wait for those real big announcements at the expo in Anaheim with everything else. So
Yeah, I mean, this was supposed to originally, it was, I think the D23 Expo in Anaheim was supposed to happen every year when they first announced it. It was 5 days, I think, the original one. And then they were like, wow, that was a lot of work. Let's not do that. Let's do it every other year. And then Destination D23 was put into place to be in the middle. And when you're in Anaheim, you bring out everybody because, like, John Travolta and, Tim Allen live down the street. Why can't they swing by and talk about stuff? But when you've got, the stuff in Florida, it's a much smaller, more intimate setting, but it's huge. Super
John
fans.
Travolta lives down the street.
Okay, well, there
yeah,
you go.
in Clearwater.
He lives in
Okay.
Clearwater.
Yeah, he does.
Bad random pick because he was at the last one. So you're like, oh, he could. So let's get John Travolta, Joey Fatone. Let's get anybody who's in Florida to just swing by and say hi. I'm looking at the chat, and a lot of people were like, Magic Kingdom Nighttime Parade. Yeah, that would be a fantastic one. Or, hey, we're bringing Paint the Night back to Disneyland. Do that. I mean, I know we've talked about that one. Somebody
Dino
else
Land
said
too.
somebody else said bring back Wishes, and somebody else said bring back Reflections of Earth. So apparently, a lot of people not happy with our current nighttime offerings. That
How
makes
could you not be happy with Happily Ever After? But okay.
Todd, go ahead.
Oh, I just was gonna say so I did see Rogers the musical, and it was phenomenal, Rob. I have to say, like, you should have made that happen. I'm sorry, but we didn't like talk about it necessarily, but they put this, like, it was supposed to end, I think, on the 31st, and they put this cryptic message up that was like, it was something like, that's the things about endings, they can be rewritten. And so now people are speculating that maybe it's not over. And supposedly one of the actors was like, we're coming back. So I think they might announce what's coming next to Hyperion. And that would be an easy win. That would make people happy.
So yeah, I think what is there. So I talked to somebody who seemed like they knew what they were talking about, who said there's a reason it was ending on the 31st. Whether it's because they were going to take the show and put it on, I don't know, the Treasure. That would make sense timing wise, or whether they were going to put something else in temporarily and then bring it back, or if they had bigger plans for the Hyperion. I don't know, but it is very cryptic, and I would like to know about that. But also, two of you on this panel are about to go to space before space shuts down.
That's true.
My thing is, hey, can you tell us what's going to happen after you take your tax write-off for Q4? What's going to happen to the Star Cruiser? Like, Desi, don't you want to know, like, what's going to happen?
Yeah, of course I want to know. And I am very excited that Kamila and I get to go to space very soon. And hopefully that space becomes a restaurant, some kind of escape room. I don't know, something. Do something with it. Don't just leave it empty.
Well, when I went, the only thing I could think of afterwards is how sad it is that it's going away. Because I mean, it's a very unique experience, and it took me forever. It took the threat of it going away for me to finally pull the trigger and beg Kamila to get me in there. And so, and I'm so glad that you did, because I'm glad I got to experience it. But it is, it's priced out of everybody's price range, and it is very, but it's very unique, and I get why it was so pricey. Like, I get that that's a thing. So I'm hoping that they can do something else with it, whether it's a retheme of some sort to something even more like accessible than Star Wars, or if they take what's there and piecemeal it out a little bit and, have people shuttle over from Galaxy's Edge as part of some kind of experience and do that. I would love to hear that. Desi, also, I would love to hear any announcement about the freaking updates to Star Tours.
Yeah. Hopefully.
How long has that been a conversation?
I just want as much Billow in there as I can get. That's totally happening, right?
I mean, at this point, I'm okay with them doing, like, stuff from the Disney Plus stuff. Hey, can we get something from Andor? Can we get something from Ahsoka? Can we get anything else in there? Because it's screen based. You should be able to do something with that and update it very easily and give us some new experience in there. So I'm hoping to hear that. They talked about it. Yeah, exactly. They talked about it at Star Wars Celebration that it was coming. They teased it then. I think they talked about it at D23 Expo. So it'd be nice if we could finally get some clarification on when that was happening. So it'd be nice to get that. But a lot of the stuff, I think, Kamila, you may have been like mentioning this sort of a thing, is it'll be what's going to be the name of some attraction, or what's going to be the timeline of it. And the annoying part is that they go, Tiana's coming 2024, and we get excited because we know it's Tiana and it's coming in 2024. And then they go, Tiana's coming in summer 2024, and then we get excited about that. And then the next time we meet, they go, coming in July 2020. So I would like to know, the dates for more things, but I'd love for them to tell us now. I just don't think that they will specifically tell us that this far away. So again, D23, Destination D23 is happening next weekend. So we won't have a ParksCenter next week, but we will have coverage on WDWNT of all of the stuff that's happening for Destination D23. And then when we come back, we'll unpack all of that stuff and what happened with Destination D23. So I'm hoping we get some big announcements, and that they are, that they talk more, to your point, Kamila, too, about the blue sky stuff that they talked about. What is on the other side of Big Thunder? What if Moana and Zootopia existed in in Animal Kingdom? And then we're going, Josh, what if? Tell us. And he's like, I don't know, because nothing has happened in any of those places, and it's been a minute. So thank you guys for being with us tonight. We appreciate it. Looks like from the poll that everybody's like, all of the above is kind of the big answer here, is everybody thinks there will be new announcements, and then also that we will get some updates on the current projects. And there are a lot of current projects. When's the Poly building opening up? When are the two Tianas opening up? We know that that Tiana's Palace is opening up this week. That'll be something new. We don't know when the Adventureland Treehouse is opening up. That would be an easy one for them to tell us, because it almost looks like it's done. So But I also want to say thank you to our WIGS members. We love our WIGS, the WDWNT Interglobe Society. Thank you guys for being with us on all our shows and hanging out in the chat and talking with us. We appreciate you. If you want to learn more about the WIGS program, go to patreon.com/WDWNT to learn how to be part of the family. We would appreciate it. Also, Deep in the Plus this week on Wednesday night, we're going to be doing the Cinderella 4K re-release. So hopefully you'll enjoy that and join us for that. And then News Tonight on Thursday night. And then, as I said, we will not be doing a ParksCenter next week, but we'll be back the following week. We've been having quite a run, and so we appreciate everybody being with us every week. But before we go, I want to get one last go around the horn and get your final thoughts about about Destination D23, and we'll start with Kamila and end up at Desi. So, or you can pick anything else we talked about tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I guess what I will say is I feel like, having just come back from Disneyland, Disney California Adventure, I had such a phenomenal time. And even though I wasn't there, like, technically for Halloween or even technically for the opening of San Fransokyo, I was able to see, a lot of the decorations were already up by the time I was there. And, a lot of San Fransokyo was pretty much done by the time I was there. They just didn't have maybe some of the merch available. And I really felt like the state of both of those parks was really good. And I feel like the biggest opportunity for those two parks in particular is really just, keeping use of some of the space. So you have, the Hyperion Theater. Hopefully, we'll continue to see great shows, whether it's Rogers the Musical or anything else there. Although I think Rogers was such a wonderful addition to Avengers Campus. It really just felt like a really nice tie-in. And so I feel like just using some of the existing infrastructure and space and taking advantage of it is maybe some of the biggest opportunity that exists for the West Coast parks, because you still have, like, the theater right by Space Mountain that, keep shows there continuously. But I don't know. I really felt like there was so much there, and I was able to do so much in those few days. But if they want to announce an Avengers e-ticket attraction, I'll take it.
Okay. And Shannon?
Yeah, I'm just really ready for Epcot to be a beautiful place again. I'm tired of the eyesore in the middle, and I want to be able to experience everything that they've shown, especially in the concept art. I love the fact that there's going to be a lot of trees, another Walt statue. So I'm really hoping that D23 is going to shed some light on when we can actually expect this to be done. And one last thing that we didn't mention, Mickey's of Glendale, the shop that they have there always has a really great merch. Not that I ever have the opportunity to buy it, but I like to window shop online. So looking forward to that too.
Nice. And Desi?
We have seen a lot of Tiana progress on the outside. I would love to see a preview maybe of what they've started to do, maybe an animatronic or something from the inside to give us a little something to get excited about. And I'm also interested to hear what's going on with the Golden Dream. I thought that was a ship that they bought that was almost done already anyway, so I don't understand what's making it take so long to put out there. So hopefully we get an update on that as well. So I'm excited to hear what comes out of it.
And one thing we didn't say is there's supposed to be a Hatbox Ghost.
Oh yeah.
What the heck? I would love it if Josh would be up there on stage and talk about all this stuff and go, and by the way, he's there. Go there now. Like, that would be like the ultimate mic drop, I think, is to be able to do that and the Figment meet and greet, because neither of those things have we heard when they're happening. We just knew that they are going to happen. So if the Figment meet and greet happens at Destination D23, that would be kind of awesome. But, let's get some dates and know what's going on with these and see what the future brings, because Epic Universe is coming, y'all. I do love me some Mario, so we'll see how that all plays out. Thank you guys again on the panel for being with us. Thanks to Allie and to Annie as well for sharing their knowledge with us and their boots on the ground information about all the stuff that's going on. And if you are a WIGS member, we do have a quick post show after this, so stick with us. And otherwise, y'all have a great week. Be safe, be kind to each other, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun.
Dun, 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 dun.